In this video, we're going to learn how to use the Thai pads or the kicking pads. First, knowing where the straps are actually oriented. You can see here that they fold over and the open side of it is on the outside like this. Okay, so that way during certain exercises, the Velcro will not be exposed onto your partner, and we want to keep that away. You can tell that the pads here have the insides like this, so there is a left and there is a right. When you hold the handles, we don't want to hold the handles where the thumb goes on the inside like this, because as a strike comes, it's going to hurt your thumb knuckle. So the best way to hold it is all fingers on the outside like this. When you hold the pads, let's say we're doing it for punching. If I hold this one up, I'm actually asking for a left hand, and we're using a crisscross method. So if you were to use your left hand and punch straight forward, I would hold this one. If you were going to use your right hand to punch straight forward, I would use this one. If let's say I'm asking you to do a left hook, I would hold it sideways like this to represent the side of the head, so that way a hook can be made. Now it's super important to, as you're holding it, we want to move the body out of the way so it can be as straight as possible during a single type of technique practice. So this would be like a single straight punch, single straight punch. But as we're progressing and we do our combinations, we'll need to hold it here. Now, super important that we don't hold it way out here this way. We will hold it close. And we want to control the amount of buffer room that the arm has to recalibrate when it comes to striking at an actual opponent. So if we do it something like this, the habits are going to be formed in over rotation. So we want to bring them together. Also, you don't want it to be so close to your face this way that it will cause this shoulder to take on too much energy. Right? It can risk shoulder injuries. Also, we don't want it to be so far away that we'll burn our shoulders out, and the striking surface is not going to be as solid as your striker partner would want it to feel like. So we have to find like a medium ground here. Sometimes as we're resting, we'll bring this up and then we'll meet the punch. We'll meet the punch. Now you don't want to do it so hard that we're causing wrist injury. So just enough to meet. Just enough to meet, especially when it comes to the punches. When it comes to the kicks, we want to have like this upside down V shape, like a wedge. And we're going to put our belly right into the middle. What we don't want to do is have it vertical like this, where our elbows are close together. If a kick is going to come this way, you can actually see that the hinge work on your elbow here is going to cause too much stress on your elbow. So we don't want it this direction. So as the elbows are open, you can actually see that if a strike is being absorbed into the pads, that there's more room for your elbows to go back. And the shoulders can absorb that energy as well. We don't want to hold it downwards like this, because we're not teaching our partner to kick upwards. We want our partner to kick horizontally, like on the lateral plane. So we want to get as vertical as possible without bringing our elbows together. So there is an upward type motion, which still fits within this wedge space between the elbow and the ribs, as you can see. So as you're holding, it'll be here. Now, if you have a shorter partner, sometimes holding it like this would be asking them to kick higher. So if you widen your stance and then do like a small lunge, you can meet them at whatever level that they're trying to kick at. Whether it's a shorter partner or maybe somebody who's still working on the flexibility within their hips. That's super important. Now, as we absorb, we want to practice our breath work with our partner as well. Whether it's a punch, I will breathe out with my partner, or even a kick. So that way, my body has a tension to it that doesn't allow the energy to be reverberating inside of my body. It'll be met with a proper tension. And that would be the basics of holding the Thai pads. Now, there are other pads that we have, like the focus mitts. These are some of my favorite ones. These are my personal ones. And if you want to have some in your gear bag, you're more than welcome to have it. This one will be just strictly for punches. And as you can hear, they're not as soft as these. So these focus mitts are only meant to be punched. These focus mitts are oversized and they meet the same size as a Thai pad. So I'll show it to you here. You can see they're about the same size. This one is mainly for technique work, not for power, especially when you're holding like this for a kick. These you can practice power on because they have more padding, but still the same. You don't want to bring on 100% of the power, especially if you're a larger, heavier fighter. And we want to throw with mechanics. We want to throw with appropriate speed and weight distribution, but not the intention to go through your partner. So as you can see here, the oversized focus mitts. I like these a lot. In the same fashion. And that brings us to the last piece of equipment. This is a kicking shield. Now, there are handles on the back. You can hold them this way, depending on what kind of strikes that you're going to be holding for. The kicking shield, however, we mainly use it in Thai boxing for cut kicks. So when you have the hold here, we're going to be holding it in this fashion. So if you were my training partner and I'm asking you to kick, notice that it's more facing you than facing to the side like this. What I want it to be is more in this 45, okay, right here in this 45. Now, it's quite heavy, so sometimes you'll have to rest, but then we'll lift it back up when you're prompting your partner to kick. It's super important to bring that up because if you hold it like this and they start kicking, you'll condition their kick to hit your knee, which is what we don't want them to do. So if you can see here, the curve of this pad is more around my knee. If I lift it up, it becomes more part of my thigh. So as I lift it up for you, you can see that you're kicking more towards the thigh. To keep the knee safe, don't turn your knee inwards, because if the amount of energy is going this direction, you're going to get hit this way, causing a risk of injury to your knee. So what we want to do is face towards where the energy is going to come from and have your knee bent. We don't want it straight, right? We want it bent. So that way there is a framework in your leg to appropriately catch the energy of the kick. Also, when they kick, I'm going to lean forward a little bit so the muscles will tighten up, causing it to be like a protective mechanism, doubling up on what the pad is doing for our leg. We don't want to be so relaxed that the knee is too relaxed and we have that hyperextension. We don't want our muscles to be too relaxed where the energy goes through the muscle to the bone. We want it to be just enough to create good framework. So it looks like this. You don't want to go too much, but just enough to receive the energy. That would be this kick shield. Now we have some kick shields that look like this. They have laces on the outside, and then over here, this one's worn out pretty good. You can see that there's more of a seam. Be cautious when you're holding it here where the laces are here, because if your training partner kicks the laces, right, we wouldn't want that to transfer into the leg. We'll do it more on the seam. So be mindful of how you hold this particular one, because it has the laces side and then it has the seam side. Same thing though applies. Boom. The outward part of the knee.